If Speaker Mike Johnson wants to pass the Trump-backed budget bill, which he most certainly does, and that includes trillions in tax cuts and other policy changes, he can only afford to lose one Republican vote. However, as we speak, multiple Republican lawmakers have already said they are no on the budget resolution, or, this is an important distinction, leaning no. Caitlin Huey-Burns joins us now from Capitol Hill. What does it look like right now, Caitlin, on the vote and where they are?
Yeah, Major. Well, as of now, which is about 5:06 p.m., Speaker Johnson does not have the votes. And I note the time code there because we have been watching outside his office as members have been coming in and out all day long. Some of them have actually even been talking to President Trump, placing calls to Trump to gauge how he's feeling on this bill. I asked Speaker Johnson a little bit about that, and he said that Trump is essentially whipping the votes for this and trying to get members on board. So we'll see tonight whether this vote happens at all. Earlier in the day, Speaker Johnson said that we would just have to stay tuned. It could or could not. But the reason why everybody should care about this budget resolution, which is really just a framework, is because this is the first real test for Congress. If you've been wondering where Congress has been for the past several weeks of the Trump administration as the president issues executive order after executive order, well, here is where Congress fits into all of this. The president wants big priorities, immigration, tax cuts extended, a lot of other items. Those have to actually be funded by Congress. And so here is where they come to play. But you can obviously understand why the president wants to go it alone as much as he can, because the House has such a slim margin that in order to pass something as basic as the budget takes all of this wrangling. And so, as you mentioned, he really doesn't, Speaker Johnson doesn't have much margin for error. So if they have a vote tonight, that will give us an indication that they have the votes. If it's punted, they kind of have to go back to the drawing board here.
And when you schedule a vote for Tuesday, that gives you much of the remainder of the week to wrangle things out if you need to. So there's some space for the House Republican leadership to intervene if they need to. You mentioned funding a second ago, Caitlin. I want to ask you about something that is adjacent to the budget resolution conversation, which is funding the government to avoid a shutdown middle of next month.
Yeah, that's right. I think lost in all of this is that the government runs out of money in a few weeks. And this is a separate piece of legislation that this Congress would have to pass. If you talk to members up here, they know that that deadline's there. But as you well know from covering too many of these over the past several years, they really wait until the deadline to do it. Now, members on both sides on the appropriations committees have been meeting. They're trying to settle on a basic number to get to, but there are also some real disagreements. I mean, Democrats want Republicans to push the White House to stop freezing federal spending, and Republicans don't want to do that. They want to give the president some deference here to administer some of these things that we're seeing from DOJ. So there is a little bit of conflict there, and we'll wait to see over the next couple of weeks if they can get to that. But that is, of course, another item kind of hanging in the balance. The House Senate Majority Leader John Thune suggested today that we may be in a position likely to just have to do another continuing resolution or a short-term budget bill to kind of get through further kicking the can down the road.
And Caitlin, briefly, when the Speaker and the House Republican leaders deal with those Republicans who are either no or lean no, what are the concerns most frequently expressed by those in the no coalition, either lean or hard no?
Well, those who are holding out say that this doesn't cut government funding enough and that it adds to the deficit. And so if Speaker Johnson were to go back and try to get additional funding if this bill doesn't pass, what does that do to some of the more moderate Republican members who are leaning towards this bill but had major concerns, some of them, about what kind of spending cuts would occur, how you would pay for them? Because one solution is to cut into Medicaid. And I asked Speaker Johnson about that today. Can you unequivocally say that there won't be cuts to Medicaid? And he said they really want to focus on waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicaid. So take that with take that with however you want to take that. But that signals to me that they have to find savings somewhere. How they get there could come at a serious cost. And this is such a fragile coalition.
Caitlin Huey-Burns on Capitol Hill with all the details. Thank you so much.